Can somebody tell me how a member of Congress could be absent for 6 months and not have a search party, not a voice of concern from the mainstream media, not a voice of concern from fellow congressmen and women working in this 118th Congress? Where was Kay Granger during that time? Well, reports are showing that she was in a facility that catered to folks with mental issues, mental decline. The name of that facility is left up in the air and denied. That the family of Miss Granger denied reports that she was actually in a bona fide mental health care facility, but instead a independent assisted or independent living for elderly people in a community such as that. So without any further ado, let's go.
The family of a retiring U.S. Congresswoman confirms she has been dealing with dementia issues after a months-long absence from D.C. raised concerns among her colleagues in Congress. Texas Republican Congresswoman Kay Granger says she's been dealing with health challenges that have made traveling to D.C. difficult, and her absence sparking calls for the term limits as the trailblazing Congresswoman ends her historic tenure while living in a retirement community. News Nation's Xavier Walton is in Dallas with the very latest. And Xavier, the Congresswoman is extremely popular, but her health concerns are raising issues.
Hey, Nick, good morning. Yeah, that's right. And Congresswoman Kay Granger's son telling the Dallas Morning News she's been living in Fort Worth at Tradition Living Center, senior living, and that the Congresswoman deals with what he describes and calls dementia issues, but denies that she was actually in a mental care facility. Now, you just mentioned this. Republican Congresswoman Kay Granger, a big name here in Texas, the 81-year-old, is the longest-serving U.S. representative and the first Republican woman to actually represent the Lone Star State in Washington. However, Granger hasn't voted on the House floor since July, leading some to really question if something was wrong. Congresswoman Granger stepped down from her role as the chairwoman of the House Appropriations Committee back in March. At the time, Granger described the move as a shift to becoming an educator, writing to House Speaker Mike Johnson, "I will remain on the committee as chair emeritus to lead as a teacher would, providing advice and counsel for my colleagues when it is needed." However, Congresswoman Granger was notably absent during the recent negotiations to keep the government funded, even missing Friday's vote to avert a government shutdown. Then, over the weekend, the Dallas Express reporting that Granger had allegedly been living in a memory care and assisted living facility for some time after having been found wandering, lost and confused in Fort Worth. Now, in a statement Sunday, Granger's office confirming that the Congresswoman is navigating some unforeseen health challenges that progressed in September, forcing her to step back from her obligations in Congress. But that did little to ease the minds of some constituents or fellow lawmakers who say they had no idea the Congresswoman hasn't been doing well.
I wasn't aware. I think there's no doubt a lot of us knew that she was gaining in age, like a lot of members do. And sadly, some of these members wait until it's too long, things have gone too far. I think this gets back to the root of it. Congress should do its job. And if you can't do your job, maybe you shouldn't be there.
And Nick, between Congresswoman Granger's lingering illness and concerns, and then you match that with President Biden here over recent months, there is this new push and obviously more talk about term limits when it comes to politics.
It also reminded me of Senator Dianne Feinstein last year. So, Xavier, this is something we'll definitely keep an eye on. Xavier Walton, thank you so much.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNate.
All right, so you heard that, right? So he mentioned the black guy with the goatee, right? Mentioned Ann Feinstein. She was a U.S. senator who basically died as a senator last year. And she was literally almost sitting in her seat on Capitol Hill when she basically passed away. I mean, I guess they wheeled her or flew her to where most of her family is, where her constituency base is. But why in the world would so many people in their 80s and 90s want to continue to work as a U.S. congressman? I mean, besides the pay that they get for their work and besides the essential services that they're providing for their constituencies, what else is out there that is the carrot in front of the horse that is incentivizing them to hold on to their seat until they're near death? And obviously, if the average thinking guy would think that when you're in your golden years, you want to be around your children, your grandchildren, your great grandchildren, in some cases, your great great grandchildren. Spend time on the beach, get some sun, get some therapy, go on cross-country trips to the extent possible. What is it? Somebody put it down in the comments for me. What do you think is the reason why some of these guys like Kay Granger, Ann Feinstein, and Mitch McConnell want to hold on to power and hold on to their seat? What is incentivizing them to do that? And then another thing is why are the people in their respective constituencies, and in this case, for Kay Granger, she represents the Congressional District 12 in Texas. What is motivating her members of that district, her constituencies, to continue to vote for her? What do they see in her other than, a Republican woman who I guess has done great things for her constituents, want to see that continue on? But at what point do we get to elder abuse? And, Joe Biden is the same way. Why was his family pushing him to keep going as president, even when it was evident that he was undergoing mental decline? Mitch McConnell, same thing. He froze a few times on public national television. He fell more than a handful of times. He's full transparency is not the key for these guys here, right? Mitch McConnell and Ann Feinstein and Kay Granger are mentally and physically incapable of doing the job that their constituents elected them to do. And it's pretty clear, that there has to be the buddy system of some sort. If I was absent without leave for a day at the company I work for, there'd be a full-blown search party for me. My phone would be blowing up, messages coming in, emails coming in. Hey, Greg, where are you? And I just don't believe that there were enough caring people in Congress to find out where Miss Granger was. It takes coming down to the wire on a spending bill a few days before Christmas before they noticed that Miss Granger wasn't around for the key vote. And in the House, the Republicans have a razor-thin majority anyway, so any Republican missing out on a key vote is detrimental to the grand old party, the GOP, to advance their agenda on the border, on how to tackle inflation, how to get disaster relief to folks in North Carolina. Any misvote by a Republican member is putting our agenda at jeopardy. And then there's a thing called accountability. I was in the Marine Corps, and if you was absent without leave, you got punished for it. It's administrative at first with a warning or a couple of warnings. Third strike, you're out, man. They're reducing your pay. They're depending on what you did. They may throw you in the brig. There's accountability in every U.S. agency across America. And so why isn't the same measure of accountability being expressed or extended to members of Congress? And then you want to get into talking about term limits. You may want to be careful about that, because I think that there's term limits built into the system already. It's called the midterm elections and the general elections. And so constituents across the United States have to be smarter. We have to do our homework and do our digging on these people that we keep electing over and over and over again. In the military, and I know U.S. Congress is not the military, but in the military there is a physical fitness, mental fitness, medical readiness, dental readiness that is required for all members of DOD in order to go forth and accomplish a mission in the U.S. and abroad. Same physical fitness standards should apply to all public servants who use taxpayer dollars to get paid. And yeah, so I'll leave it at that. Hey, smash the like button if you enjoy this content, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.